Once upon a time, in a beautiful forest, there lived a clever and mischievous fox named Felix. Felix was known far and wide for his slyness and his cunning ways. He was always on the lookout for a delicious meal or an exciting adventure. One sunny day, as Felix was exploring the forest, he came across a tall and sturdy vine growing against a tree. On that vine hung the most delicious-looking grapes he had ever seen. They were plump, juicy, and a vibrant shade of purple. With his sharp eyes and nimble paws, Felix attempted to reach the grapes. He leapt into the air, stretching his body as much as he could, but the grapes remained just out of his reach. Undeterred, he tried again and again, but no matter how hard he tried, the grapes were still too high. Felix began to feel frustrated. He paced back and forth, thinking of ways to get his paws on those succulent grapes. "I must have those grapes," he exclaimed, determined not to give up. He took a step back, examining the situation from a different angle. After a moment of contemplation, Felix came up with an idea. "If I can't reach the grapes, maybe I can convince myself that they are not worth having," he thought. Felix had always been clever with words, so he decided to use his wit to trick himself. With a sneaky grin on his face, Felix exclaimed, "Those grapes are probably sour anyway. Who would want to eat something sour?" He repeated this to himself over and over, trying to convince himself that the grapes were not worth his time and effort. As Felix continued his charade, the other forest animals began to gather around, curious about what was happening. They watched as Felix pretended to ignore the grapes, making snide comments and laughing at their expense. But deep down, Felix knew that he was only fooling himself. As much as he tried to convince himself that the grapes were undesirable, his desire for them remained strong. The more he pretended, the more his hunger grew. Eventually, one of the animals, a wise old owl named Oliver, couldn't bear to watch Felix's struggle any longer. He hooted loudly and called out, "Felix, it's okay to admit that you want the grapes. There's no shame in acknowledging your desires." Felix stopped in his tracks, surprised by Oliver's words. He looked around and saw the compassionate faces of the other animals, all nodding in agreement. Felix took a deep breath and admitted, "You're right. I really do want those grapes. I was just trying to trick myself into thinking otherwise." The animals cheered, happy that Felix had finally come to terms with his true feelings. With newfound determination, Felix devised a new plan. He called upon his friends, the clever squirrels, who were excellent climbers, to help him reach the grapes. Together, Felix and the squirrels formed a pyramid. One by one, they climbed on top of each other's shoulders until the top squirrel was close enough to grab the vine. With a quick and skillful maneuver, the squirrel plucked the grapes and handed them down to Felix. Triumphantly, Felix held the grapes in his paws. They were even more delicious than he had imagined. The forest animals celebrated their victory, their laughter echoing through the trees. Felix learned an important lesson that day about the value of honesty and perseverance. From then on, whenever Felix encountered a challenge, he faced it head-on and asked for help when he needed it. And he never again pretended to not want something he truly desired. The story of Felix and the grapes became a legend in the forest, teaching all the animals that it's better to be honest about our desires than to deceive ourselves. And so the clever fox and his friends lived happily ever after, cherishing the grapes of truth and friendship that they had acquired on that memorable day in the forest.